So in the last class we were studying the fourth colligative property, namely the osmotic pressure. So we have learned that what is a semi-permeable membrane, osmosis, osmotic pressure, etc. What is osmosis? The flow of pure solvent from pure solvent side to concentrated solution side or dilute solution to concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane is known as osmosis. And then the minimum pressure applied on the solution or the solution of higher concentration to just prevent osmosis is known as osmotic pressure. So also we have learned that osmotic pressure, greater the concentration of solution, greater is the osmotic pressure, and also osmotic pressure is directly proportional to molarity of the solution, that is pi is proportional to C, and ultimately we have derived an expression for molar mass of a solute. So that equation is also important. So then we have studied what are isotonic solutions, hypertonic solution and hypotonic solution. What are isotonic solutions? So solutions having same osmotic pressures or different solutions having same osmotic pressures are called isotonic solutions. Isotonic solutions will have same molar concentration. When these isotonic solutions are separated by semi-permeable membrane, there will be no flow of solvent on either side of the membrane. So example for isotonic solutions, the fluid present in red blood cells are isotonic with 0.9% NaCl solution. That means the osmotic pressure of fluid in the red blood cell is similar to the osmotic pressure of 0.9% NaCl solution. Here 0.9% NaCl solution is called normal saline. So osmotic pressure of RBC fluid and the osmotic pressure of this normal saline are one and the same. Their molar concentrations are same. When this cell is placed in 0.9% solution, there will be no flow of solvent outside the cell or into the cell, and that means no osmosis. Coming to the second type of solutions, that is hypertonic solution. What are hypertonic solutions? Solution whose osmotic pressure is greater than the given solution is called an hypertonic solution. So that means pi 1 is greater than pi 2 of the given solution. Concentration of solution is greater than the concentration of the given solution. So in such a case, for example, when RBC, red blood cell, is kept in hypertonic solution, say for example seawater. So in seawater, the concentration of sodium chloride is greater than 0.9%. When RBC is placed in a seawater or whose concentration is greater than 0.9%, what happens? So this is RBC fluid and this one is hypertonic solution. So concentration of this fluid is less than the concentration outside the fluid. Therefore, the solvent flow out of the cell. That means the flow of solvent from dilute solution to the concentration solution is known as osmosis. Due to osmosis, water or the solvent will move outside the cell. As a result, the size of the cell decreases or the cell shrinks. So this process is also called as exosmosis. The flow of solvent outside the cell through a semi-permeable membrane is known as exosmosis. That means when RBC is placed in hypertonic solution, that means whose concentration is greater than the given solution or whose osmotic pressure is greater than the given solution, water will flow out of the cell. As a result, the cell shrinks. The process is also called as exosmosis. On the other hand, what are hypotonic solutions? A solution whose osmotic pressure is less than the given solution is known as hypotonic solution. So in hypotonic solution, osmotic pressure is less than the osmotic pressure of the given solution, that is a semi-permeable, red blood cell. For example, RBC is the given solution. C1 is less than C2. So when the concentration of the cell is greater than this concentration of the solution which is present outside, what happens? Due to osmosis, the solvent flow into the cell. As a result, the cell swells. This process is known as, also called as, end osmosis. So example for hypertonic solution, for example, when during the preparation of pickles from small mangoes are kept in concentrated solution of sodium chloride, which is called hypertonic solution. Due to osmosis, water will flow out of the mangoes. As a result, the mangoes shrinks. This process is known as end osmosis. Due to end osmosis, water will flow out of the mangoes and the size of the mangoes decreases. This is what happens in hypertonic solution. Similarly, when dried grapes are placed in water, what happens? Water will flow into the grapes because the concentration of solution in the grapes is greater than the concentration of solution outside. As a result, due to osmosis, water will flow into the cell. As a result, the cell swells. The flow of water into the cell through the semipermeable membrane is also called as end osmosis. So now we will study what is reverse osmosis and what is its significance or use. So during osmosis, for example, this is pure water and this is seawater or the solution of sodium chloride. So due to osmosis, what happens? Pure water will flow into this solution. This process is known as osmosis. The flow of water into the solution through a semi-permeable membrane is known as osmosis. So when by applying pressure on the solution side, we can prevent the flow of water into the solution, or we can prevent osmosis. The minimum pressure applied on the solution to just prevent osmosis is known as osmotic pressure. So if pressure greater than osmotic pressure is applied on the solution, what happens? The flow of solvent takes place from solution side to pure solvent side. That means when pressure greater than the osmotic pressure of the solution is applied on the solution, what happens? The flow of water or solvent takes place from solution into solvent. That process is known as reverse osmosis. So what is the definition of reverse osmosis? The flow of solvent out of the solution through a semi-permeable membrane when a pressure greater than, this is very important, pressure greater than the osmotic pressure of the solution is applied on it. The flow of solvent out of the solution through a semi-permeable membrane when a pressure greater than the osmotic pressure of the solution is applied on the solution is called reverse osmosis. So you might have heard what is reverse osmosis. So in our water filters, for example, the water filter which is fixed in our college is based on reverse osmosis. So what happens? So we will apply pressure on impure water only pure water will flow out of the semi-permeable membrane. This is known as reverse osmosis. The flow of solvent from pure solvent to solution is osmosis. The flow of solvent from solution into pure solvent through semi-permeable membrane is reverse osmosis. So what is the use or what is the significance of reverse osmosis or use of reverse osmosis? So the technique of reverse osmosis is used in getting pure water from sea water where the countries are very much suffering from shortage of water. So significance of reverse osmosis is it is used in the desalination of sea water to get pure water for drinking. What is desalination? Desalination means removal of solute, that is salt present in sea water is known as desalination. So by taking sea water, by applying pressure on it, how much pressure we have to apply? The pressure greater than the osmotic pressure of sea water is applied. The water flow out of the sea water through semi-permeable membrane. The process is known as desalination. Salt will remain in this solution only and then pure water flows out of the sea water. The process is known as reverse osmosis and it is also called as desalination. We will study what are abnormal molecular weights. So we have studied 4 colligative properties, namely relative lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point and osmotic pressure. So from these experiments we can calculate molecular mass of the solute which is added into the solvents. So the molecular weights determined by these experiments sometimes are higher than the normal molecular weights or lower than the normal molecular weights of solutes. Those molecular weights are called abnormal molecular weights. The molecular weights determined by colligative property measurements. Colligative property measurements are either low or higher than their normal molecular weights. Normal molecular weights for some solutes. These molecular weights which are low or higher than their molecular weights which are determined by colligative property measurements are called abnormal molecular weights. So the abnormal molecular weights are due to association or dissociation of the solute in the solvent. So the molecular weights determined by colligative property measurements are either low or high. These molecular weights are called abnormal molecular weights. Abnormal molecular weights are due to number 1, association of the solute or dissociation of the solute in the solvent. For example, association of solute in the solvent. So what happens when the solute molecules undergo association? So when molecules undergo association, what is mean by association? For example, when acetic acid is added into water, two molecules of acetic acid combine to form a big molecule. So if you add 500 molecules, you will get only 250 molecules due to association. Due to association, what happens? The number of solute particles in the solution decreases. When the solute particle numbers decreases, colligative property value also decreases. When the colligative property value decreases, molecular weight increases, because molecular weight is inversely proportional to colligative property. That is, due to association, number of solute particles decreases. When the number of solute particles decreases, colligative property value decreases and molecular mass increases. Because molecular mass is inversely proportional to colligative property. For example, these are acetic acid molecule. CH3COOH molecule is acetic acid. So two molecules of acetic acid associate CH3COOH twice. So two molecules, when you add two molecules, it is converted into a single big molecule due to association. Therefore, the number of molecules decreases. For example, what is the normal molecular weight of acetic acid? Normal or calculated molecular mass of CH3COOH is equal to carbon atomic mass is 2 into 2 carbon atoms plus atomic weight of hydrogen is 1 into 4 hydrogen atoms plus atomic weight of oxygen is 16 into 2. Totally you will get 60. So 60 is the normal or calculated molecular mass of acetic acid. So by experiment means either by relative lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, or by depression in freezing point, the molecular mass of acetic acid is found to be 120. So its normal molecular mass is 60. Its molecular mass determined by experiment is 120. Here 120 is called abnormal molecular mass of acetic acid. So why this abnormal molecular weight is due to association. Due to association of solute molecules in the solution. Due to association, what happens? The number of particles decreases. When the number of particles decreases, colligative property also decreases. When colligative property value decreases, molecular mass increases. So the second reason for abnormal molecular mass is dissociation of solute in the solution. So when solutes undergo dissociation or ionization, the number of solute particles increases. So due to dissociation, number of solute particles increases. Colligative property also colligative property increases. So when the colligative property increases, molecular weight decreases, because molecular weight is inversely proportional to colligative property. For example, normal molecular mass of or calculated molecular mass of sodium chloride is equal to how much? Atomic weight of sodium is 23 plus atomic mass of chlorine is 35.5. This is equal to 58.5. So what is 58.5? 58.5 is the normal or calculated molecular mass of sodium chloride. So by experiment, colligative property experiment, molecular mass of NaCl is found to be 29.25. So it is smaller than its normal molecular mass. This molecular mass is called abnormal molecular mass. Abnormal molecular mass. So this is because when sodium chloride is dissolved in water, it dissociates into Na plus plus Cl minus. So if you add one molecule, it splits up into two ions. So number of particles in the solution increases. When the number of molecule or particles increases, colligative property value increases, molecular mass decreases, since molecular mass is inversely proportional to colligative property. So next, to account for the extent of association or dissociation of solute in the solvent, the scientist Van 't Hoff introduced a term is known as Van 't Hoff factor. So in Van 't Hoff factor, so many questions will be asked. The first question is, so what Van 't Hoff factor accounts for? Van 't Hoff factor accounts for the extent of association or dissociation of the solute in the solvent. So Van 't Hoff factor accounts for the extent of association or dissociation of solute in the solvent. Coming to the definition of Van 't Hoff factor I, it is the ratio of observed colligative property or experimental colligative property over experimental colligative property over theoretical or calculated colligative property. The ratio of observed or experimental colligative property over the theoretical or calculated colligative property is known as Van 't Hoff factor, or Van 't Hoff factor is also called normal or calculated molecular mass of the solute divided by the observed or experimental value of molecular mass. For example, Van 't Hoff factor I for sodium chloride is equal to, what is the normal or calculated molecular mass? It is 58.5. What is the observed or experimental molecular mass? This is 29.25. What is its value? Is equal to 2. Similarly, so what happens in sodium chloride? It undergo dissociation in solution. Therefore, Van-Ta factor is 2. That means if I is greater than 1, the solute undergoes dissociation. Solute undergoes dissociation. Next, Van-Ta factor I for CH3COOH, acetic acid. What is its calculated molecular mass of acetic acid is 60. What is its experimentally determined molecular mass is 120. It is equal to 0.5. So what happens here? In acetic acid, association of solute takes place. So if I is less than 1, solute undergoes association. Solute undergo association. So here Van-Ta factor accounts for the extent of association or dissociation of solute in the solvent. Definition of Van-Ta factor: it is the ratio of observed or experimental colligative property over theoretical or calculated colligative property. Since molecular mass is inversely proportional to colligative property, Van-Ta factor I is normal or calculated molecular mass of solute divided by observed or experimental value of molecular mass. Either you can give this definition or this definition. For example, for solutes which undergo dissociation, Van-Ta factor is always greater than 1. The solutes which undergo dissociation, Van-Ta factor is always greater than 1. For the solutes which undergo association, Van-Ta factor is always less than 1. Next, we will study the significance of Van-Ta factor. So this is also important. So case 1, if I Van-Ta factor is greater than 1, what happens? The solute undergo dissociation. If I is greater than 1, the solute undergo dissociation in the solvent. If I is less than 1, the solute undergoes association in the solvent. So this will be asked. So what is the value of I when a solute undergo dissociation? What is the value of I when the solute undergo association? If the solute undergo dissociation, I is greater than 1. When the solute undergo association in the solvent, I is less than 1. So if I is equal to 1, what happens? When I is equal to 1, the solute does not undergo association or dissociation in the solvent. So this significance is also very important. So what definition of Van-Ta factor? Van-Ta factor accounts for, and then significance of Van-Ta factor. All these are important. Next we will study, so you will be asked in the examination, what are the Vanta factor values for the following compounds? So I will tell you the Vanta factor values for some of the compounds. For example, compounds like glucose C6H12O6, sucrose C12H22O11, urea NH2CONH2, urea, glucose, sucrose, urea. For all these compounds, the Vanta factor I is equal to 1. So what does it mean? The solutes does not undergo association or dissociation in the solvent. So for these solutes which does not undergo association or dissociation of the solvent, the molecular mass calculated and the molecular mass experimentally determined are one and the same. So experimental molecular mass and calculated molecular mass are same. So glucose 180 is the molecular mass of glucose. By the experiment also its molecular mass comes out to be 180. For urea, calculated molecular mass is 60 and experimentally determined value is also equal to 60. Similarly for sucrose, it is around 340, something like that. And then for compounds like HCl, NaCl, MgSO4, KCl, etc. What happens? One molecule of HCl dissociates to give H plus Cl minus. This gives Na plus Cl minus. This gives Mg plus SO4 2 minus, KCl K plus Cl minus. So one molecule dissociates to give 2 ions. So Vanta factor I is equal to 2. So that means I is greater than 1. So what conclusion we will get? The solute undergoes dissociation. The solute undergoes dissociation because I is greater than 1. I is greater than 1. So in these cases, normal molecular mass is equal to observed molecular mass or experimental molecular mass into number of ions obtained. So for example, molecular mass of NaCl, normal molecular mass of NaCl is equal to 58.5, experimentally determined is 29.25, number of ions obtained is equal to 2, so totally it is 58.5, like that. So for solutes which undergo dissociation, I is always greater than 1. So these are the I values for these compounds. For example, MgCl2, K2SO4, etc. So you will get Mg plus 2Cl minus 2K plus SO4 2 minus. How many ions you will get? You will get 1 plus 2 3, 2 plus 1 3. So I value is equal to 3. Vanta factor is 3. So here also the solute undergoes dissociation. For acetic acid, What is this formula? CH3COOH, benzoic acid, C6H5COOH, etc. I is equal to half or 0.5. So value of I is less than 1. The solute undergoes association. Solute undergoes association. So due to association, how many molecules it associates? Two molecules associates. This process is known as dimerization. When two molecules associates, dimerization. When three molecules associates, trimerization, etc. The solute undergoes association because I is less than 1. So normal molecular mass is equal to experimental molecular mass divided by number of molecules associated. For example, for acetic acid CH3COOH, observed molecular normal molecular mass is equal to 60. This is equal to experimentally determined is 120. Number of molecules associated is equal to 2. That is equal to 60. So lastly, Van 't Hoff's modified colligative property equations for solutes undergoing association or dissociation in solvents. So first, relative lowering of vapor pressure. Relative lowering of vapor pressure. So this is the first colligative property. What is the equation we have derived? P naught minus P by P naught equals NB divided by NA. So P naught is the vapor pressure of pure solvent, P is the vapor pressure of solution, NB is the number of moles of solute and Na is the number of moles of solvent. So NB divided by Na plus NB, we have neglected NB. So this is also the Raoult's law of relative lowering of vapor pressure. P naught minus P by P naught is equal to NB divided by Na plus NB for very dilute solution. This is the ultimate equation. So if you have I for solutes undergoing association or dissociation, this is the equation for relative lowering of vapor pressure, where I is the Van 't Hoff's factor. Number 2, elevation in boiling point. Elevation in boiling point. So delta TB is equal to KB into M, where KB is the ebullioscopic constant and M is the molality of the solution. So this is the equation for solutes which does not undergo association or dissociation. If they undergo association or dissociation, we have to introduce I, that is Van 't Hoff factor. So third one, depression in freezing point. Depression in freezing point. So that is Fp. So this is designated as delta Tf. Depression in freezing point is equal to I into Kf into M. So I, where I is the Van 't Hoff factor, Kf cryoscopic constant and M is the molality of the solution. And fourth one is osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure, and it is designated as pi, is equal to K into C, or pi is equal to RT into C, and this one is I, where C is the molarity. C equals molarity of the solution. M equals molality of the solution, and NB divided by Na plus NB equals mole fraction of the solute. So relative lowering of vapor pressure is directly proportional to mole fraction. Elevation in boiling point is directly proportional to molality. Depression in freezing point is directly proportional to molality. Osmotic pressure is directly proportional to molarity of the solution. So if the solute undergo association or dissociation, we have to introduce Van 't Hoff factor in these equations. Therefore, these equations are called Van 't Hoff's modified colligative property equations for solutes undergoing association or dissociation.